Hello everybody, my name is Dratnos. This week we have beta dev notes and PTR dev notes. The TLDR and the PTR is that they're implementing some of the changes, a lot of the changes to class trees and stuff. That's going to be happening. It looks like July 30th is the date that is currently planned for that. From some various things that are in the pre-patch, people have found that date. And that's going to include stuff like the warband system getting added, the full conversion of all your achievements over, and human racial change, a lot of the talent changes, all that kind of stuff. Now, here's what's coming with this week's beta build, which many, but not all of these changes are going to be in the pre-patch, right? A lot of these changes are also like hero talents and stuff, which won't be accessible in the pre-patch. And that all comes out when the expansion comes out, which is August 22nd for the pre-order, 26th if you didn't. Okay, so warband conversion, cross-realm, guilds and stuff, functionality. We have some Death Knight changes. They're renaming Death's Bargain to Pact the Deathbringer, fair. And Exterminate's now getting soft capped beyond 8, also fair. Sand Lane Unholy is one of the biggest pumper specs on beta right now in keys and stuff. Visceral Regen has been renamed and redesigned to Visceral Strength. When Crimson Scourge or Sudden Doom is consumed, you gain strength for 8 or 5 seconds. Infliction of Sorrow deals less damage than before. Fixed an issue that prevented Blood Beasts from spawning, and Infliction of Sorrow now only functions with Virulent Plague for Unholy Decay. So a little bit of nerfs here to the Unholy side of it. Blood, we have a new talent. There's been a spot in the tree that had this not yet implemented talent, so that'll go there, I think. Bloodied Blade. Parrying an attack grants you a charge of Bloodied Blade, increasing your strength by 0.5%, up to 4% for 15 seconds. At 8 stacks, your next parry consumes all charges to unleash a Heart Strike at 200% effectiveness and increases your strength by 10% for 6 seconds. So in big AoE, this is going to be cycling through quite a bit. You're going to be getting a lot of value out of the extra strength. You're going to be getting this reasonably high uptime on this extra strength, and you're going to be getting free Heart Strikes. You're going to be getting free Runic Power from that, free damage. That sounds pretty sick. In a single target, on the other hand, this will be a lot lower value, but potentially still decent if you're parrying, a reasonable amount of the time. You're still looking at an average of, a percent or two of strength maybe, and that's possibly pretty good for a talent. Several talents have been moved around as well. Obliteration has a new effect. While Pillar of Frost is active, it will now also increase the cost of your Frost Strike by up to 15 Runic Power to deal up to 52.5% additional damage. So basically letting you do more with less in your Pillar of Frost, that's really nice. That'll help you. You have a lot of going on in the pillar anyways, so the opportunity to convert more Runic Power into more damage and fewer globals, that's really nice. Unholy Foul Infections now correctly increases crit chance by a flat 5%, was previously multiplicative. Unholy Blight is now passive and surrounds the Ghoul instead of the Death Knight, and it happens when you press Dark Transformation. Neat. So they've taken another button and stapled it onto another button, which Unholy is a spec that I think will appreciate that. And putting it onto Dark Transformation also will help reduce the Unholy's problem of my cooldowns involve like a 7-button recipe that I have to press. Sudden Doom no longer causes Epidemic to burst festering wounds on targets. That's going to hit their AoE by a lot from the beta builds, but they were doing so much damage in AoE on beta. And when talented into Harbinger of Doom, Sudden Doom now displays the activation overlay images separately, left and right, for each stack. Also nice. Okay, Demon Hunter, here's a big one. Illuminated Sigils now grants an additional charge only to Sigil of Flame, was all sigils, and also reduces Sigil of Flame cooldown by 5 seconds. This nerf is very wise, and whoever has been saying they needed to do this for the past several months is probably very smart and handsome, and yeah, this will help make it so that Demon Hunter is not super duper OP anytime it can survive and do reasonable damage in M+, because it has just 70 stops. Aldrachi Reaver, new talent, Fury of the Aldrachi. When enhanced by Reaver's Glaive, Blade Dance and Soul Cleave deal 3 additional glaive slashes to nearby targets. If cast after Chaos Strike, Fracture, and Shear, it deals 6 slashes instead. Okay. So they're trying to maybe make it so that they're trying to make it clear like what order you're supposed to cast these in, maybe? Yeah, Art of the Glaive's been redesigned to make the first ability do 10%, the second 20%, Intent Pursuit's been redesigned. When enhanced by Reaver Glaive, Chaos Strike, Fracture, and Shear apply Reaver's Mark, which causes the target to take 15% increased damage. If cast after Blade Dance and Soul Cleave, Reaver's Mark is increased to 30%. Huh, okay. So I guess both of these now... So maybe this doesn't make it clear which order you're supposed to do it in, because now you're getting each of these is empowered if you do it in the reverse orders. Casting the Hunt always allows you to cast Reaver's Glaive. Cool. Incisive Blade increases Chaos Strike or Soul Cleave damage, was only when enhanced. Adjusted some positions, and Escalation has been removed. Interesting. Yeah, I'm still not sure how I feel about Eldrazi Reaver, but I'll have to see how this plays out. This might also be like a single target versus AoE different order thing. I could see maybe being done, especially if... Well, I guess nearby targets would still work on single target. Yeah, I don't know. Druid, Elude's Chosen. Moondust now slows enemies by less, and Stellar Command increases full moon damage by more. All right. Evoker, Chrono Warden. Temporal Burst is being nerfed. Oh, changed as well. So it's going to give less total value, but now it's front-loaded instead of back-loaded on haste, movement speed, and cooldown recovery rate. Interesting. I wonder if that is actually a net buff or nerf. All right, Hunter. We've swapped around some talent positions, fixed some issues. Sentinel is getting nerfed a little bit, which is the best of the Hunter hero talent trees, in my opinion, by quite a bit. Not just in terms of like numerical performance on beta or anything, but it's the only one that I looked at and was like, okay, this one's actually hitting, the fantasy, and looks fun and cool to play. So I still hope there's time in beta for Dark Ranger and especially Pack Leader to get some adjustments. Now, again, not numbers. I'm not really talking about numbers here. I mean more like vibe. Beast Mastery. A lot of this is like whenever there's a word properly here, that's just they're bug fixing stuff. They're fixing things where the tooltip didn't do the same thing as the actual spell did. So we're not going to read too much about that. Huntmaster's Call is providing a substantial amount of damage despite how easy it is to access. So they have nerfed its damage by a sizable amount here. Hunters have new visuals and sound effects when Huntmaster's Call summons Hati or Fenrir. Kill command damage has been increased, Dire Beast damage has been increased, and Dire Beast is now granting some focus as well. Survival. Now, Survival has been really sick looking ever since in the last week of beta. Harpoon and Aspect of the Eagle are now baseline. Fury of the Eagle will now properly benefit from Tip of the Spear. It doesn't consume the stack until the channel ends. Contagious Reagents no longer plays the Serpent-Sing animation or audio multiple times. Terms of Engagement is located where Harpoon used to be on the survival tree. Exposed Flank has been redesigned. Flanking Strike exposes a weakness, causing it to strike 2 additional targets at 100% effectiveness, and causing Kill Command to hit 2 additional nearby enemies for 10 seconds. Explosive Shot now benefits from and consumes Tip of the Spear. Wow, that's sick. Explosive Shot is already feeling really good, I think, on this spec. The following changes are targeted at smoothing out Survival's rotation such that you can reasonably maintain a spell priority, aren't munching procs, and will have to more actively manage your focus economy. We'll continue to read feedback and adjust these as necessary. Fix an issue that was causing Flanker's advantage to substantially increase Kill Command's chance to reset its cooldown and substantially increase Tip the Spear's damage bonus. Flanking Strike's damage has been buffed, now costs 20 focus and generates 2 stacks of Tip of the Spear. Wildfire Bomb now costs 10 focus. Explosives Expert now reduces the Wildfire Bomb cooldown by less. Wildfire Infusion makes Kill Command reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by less. Grenade Juggler makes Explosive Shot reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by less. Grenade Juggler now causes Wildfire Bomb to have a 25% chance to also fire an Explosive Shot at 100% effectiveness. So this is going to save you a global now when it procs, because previously it would just reset the cooldown. And Bombardier now grants 2 free charges of Explosive Shot after Coordinated Assault ends, instead of having 0 cooldown and 0 focus, letting you just spam that thing for 4 seconds. This is probably fair. I mean, this was really fun for a little bit, but I think this is a very good way to... Like, the spec was fun. The spec's been fun for the past week, but I think this will help make it more, like, reasonable. The rotation, I think, can still be really fun, but... Like, the amount of cooldown reduction, when you get to such a high amount of baseline CDR in a kit, when you're at expansion start levels of gear, it runs into this serious problem of, like, especially as the expansion goes on, you start getting haste. It becomes very unwieldy. You get these kind of awkward moments where you have, like, 3 different things you want to be doing, but you only have 1 global. And so I think this is very, very wise. Mage, Spellslinger. So Splintering Orbs have been updated for Arcane only. The first enemy damaged by your Arcane Orb conjures 4 splinters. Spellfrost Teachings has been updated for Arcane only, which automatically launches an orb when it procs rather than resetting the cooldown. The difference in effectiveness between Orb and Frozen Orb and single target versus AoE is stark. These changes should help Arcane Mages to feel as though they're still getting the full benefit in single target, relative to Frost Mages who can much more easily get the full benefit. This makes sense, because as an Arcane Mage on single target, Arcane Orb is very low priority compared to Frost Mages. Frozen Orb is like, that's the biggest thing, right? So launching a free one rather than giving you a free charge, you might already be sitting at 2 charges. You know, if you're burning or whatever, you're not using a global on Arcane Orb. So launching a free one is a lot better than getting a free charge that you're maybe already going to be capped on. Sun Fury lessens in debilitation no longer casts a CC spell when you summon your Phoenix. Mages having access to a free off GCD CC spell every time they use their cooldowns is proving to be too problematic in all forms of content. Yeah, that's fair. Gravity Lapse now benefits from time manipulation. Fix an issue that was causing Spellfire spheres to be removed from players upon starting an encounter. Meteorites will now properly benefit from damage amps and proc on damage effects. Codex of the Sunstrider has been redesigned. Over its duration, your Arcane Phoenix will consume each of your spheres to cast an exceptional spell. Upon consuming the sphere, the Phoenix will give you Lingering Embers, increasing your spell damage by 2%, stacking up to 5 times. Really nice quality of life to not have you feel like you're getting weaker as your Phoenix is doing its cool stuff. Like, obviously you like that it's doing cool stuff, but giving you some spell damage back for a while, I think will be really nice there. Arcane is getting Glorious Incandescence redesigned as well. Consuming Burden of Power causes your next cast of Barrage to grant 4 charges and call down 4 Meteorites. Mana Cascade's been redesigned. Casting Arcane Blast or Arcane Barrage grants you haste, stacking up to 5 times. Multiple instances may overlap. Spells Fire Spheres are now generated by casting 6 Blast or Barrages instead of clear casting consumption. Okay, so that's going to be really nice for the Arcane Sun Fury side. Fire is also, they're just fixing a thing, making it so you get combustion when you gain hyperthermia during the Sun King's Fury hard cast. Yeah, that I remember that being a little buggy, so that'll be really nice. Okay, Arcane Mage. Wow, another week with just paragraphs of Mage stuff. Surely there are also some Shaman paragraphs in this week's notes. The position of many nodes on the Arcane spec tree has changed. We're making some updates, but some extra talent nodes didn't quite make the build, so expect to see them in the coming weeks. Okay. Nether Munitions have been redesigned. When Touch the Magi detonates, it increases the damage all affected targets take from you by 8% for 12 seconds. Improved Touch the Magi is no longer a choice node with Magi Spark. Magi Spark and Nether Munitions are now a choice. Magi Spark damage has been buffed. The Echo damage has been buffed. The explosion will benefit from stuff. Blast Barrage missiles are being buffed. Ley Drinker's chance to trigger is being buffed. Ley Drinker echoes for way more damage. Arcane Missiles, Barrage, Nova, and Shifting Power can now properly generate clear casting. Wizened Wit's been removed. And the 2 and 4 piece now benefit Arcane Barrage instead of Arcane Explosion. Nice. The 4-set proc, that's actually going to be really nice for when you're going off in AoE, you're actually not pressing many explosions because you're just pressing Orb and Barrage. So that's really good. Set bonus proc chance has been nerfed, and the damage buff has been increased. That's fair. I mean, yeah, this is still by far one of the coolest set bonuses of the Nerebar Palace sets. Making it happen a little bit less often is probably fair. All right, Fire. Pyromaniac now counts as consuming Hot Streak, and this is now communicated in the talent. Flame Strike and Pyroblast Echoes no longer contribute to Hot Streak. Living Bomb has been nerfed again. Sparking Cinders has been nerfed. It will trigger at most 3 times a minute, increased with haste. Phoenix Flames damage has been reduced. Pyroblast damage has been reduced. And Intensifying Flames Ignite damage bonus has been reduced. Fire has been one of the overperformers in beta, so I'm not surprised to see some numbers nerfs coming to them. Frost has a new talent. Frozen Orb increases Ice Lance's damage by 15% for 5 seconds. Ice Collar is now at Snowstorm's previous location. Fix an issue that allowed Frost Spellslingers to generate splinters with other players' Winter's Chill. Snowstorm has been removed. Nerebar Palace is being redesigned, the set bonus. The 2-piece is now Ice Lance does more damage. The 4-piece is now Damage from Fingers of Frost, enhanced Ice Lances. Invoke a Frigid Pulse, dealing frost damage to nearby enemies reduced beyond 8 targets. The previous ones were benefiting Spellslinger far more than Frostfire, which contradicted our stated goals. We're glad everyone liked the designs and are investigating implementing them into the Frost Tree. Cool. Monk, Brewmaster. Heightened Guard has been reduced to 40%. Windwalker, Chi Burst has been redesigned. Your damaging spells and abilities have a chance to activate Chi Burst, allowing you to hurl a torrent of Chi Okay, allowing you to hurl. Does that just mean it procs? Or does it light up the Chi Burst button? Well, I'm not sure. Dealing nature damage to all enemies, healing the monk and all allies in the path, reduced beyond 5 targets. Fix an issue that caused it to deal more damage than intended while SEF was active. Yeah, SEF screws over so many. There's so many spells that are like, oh, randomly this is doing way less than it's supposed to during Storm, Earth, and Fire. Okay, let's buff, like let's do a duct tape fix to that in the code, and then something later fixes the initial bug, but the duct tape fix is still in there, and then it's just doing way more damage than it's supposed to. I don't know. This is one of the probably the single buggiest ability of all time, Storm, Earth, and Fire. All right, Paladin. We've got some Herald of the Sun holy changes, nerfing it. Yeah, this was extremely OP during testing, so I'm not surprised that they are making this do less. Ret is also going to be getting 1 Dawn Light on Wings. Being procced by a Radiant Glory was 4, so nerfing it a little bit for Ret, more for Holy. Lightsmith. Sacred Weapon now deals AoE damage and healing. Okay, a lot more competitive now for M+. And Shining Light stacks to a maximum of 2. Holy, Divine Favor is now a passive that triggers automatically after you cast Prism or Barrier. And several talents have been moved to facilitate Divine Favor's choice node, moving below Holy Prism's choice node. Priest. Cauterizing Shadow can now trigger from enemies dying with pain or Purge the Wicked active, regardless of the duration of the effect. Added some spell variants to Shield and Luminous Barrier. People complain about spell variants. This like 5% spell variance is really not a big deal. Not something that will often matter. It is something that can be quite annoying if you're trying to like perfectly figure out how to live a one-shot in high M+. Those are the cases where variance on spells tends to be the most annoying. And this will potentially add some more of that to groups that were planning to use these things to live those sorts of effects. In most other cases, it really is not something that you'll notice very much at all, ever, really. Void Weaver, Void Blast damage has been reduced by 25%. Disc, okay, then they just fixed a bunch of bugs with procs not getting consumed or stuff incorrectly for all 3 specs. Rogue, Deathstalker. They are buffing the hell out of this thing. Yeah, damaging a lot of this stuff by 100%, and they actually did this by a hotfix during last week's beta testing, so maybe it was already in. Oh, and they did, I guess, nerf how many marks baseline get applied by Deathstalker's mark. Actually, maybe this is a buff, because I feel like there's something where when you consume them, the last one, you get to reapply and go again, and so this actually is probably a buff to apply less, because you're going to be doing that more often. I don't 100% remember how this tree worked, but I think that's right. Warlock. A Diabolist. This was actually, I think it was Hellcaller that was the most OP one during beta testing. Warlock in general has been really good looking, but I think it's Hellcaller that is just insane. There was some kind of, maybe it was a bug or something. Something was making them they were doing so much damage last week. Cast time has been nerfed on Infernal Bolt, so it's going to take longer to cast. Ruination is now getting soft capped at 8. Overlord, Mother of Chaos, and Pitlord are now visible to other players at a reduced scale and will retain their original scale for the summoner. This is actually, I think, a common complaint. Several hero talent trees don't currently have good other player visibility implemented. Like if you're playing, I was playing some Holy Priest with the Halo thing, and the other players could all see all 3 Halos at full spell effect, and that was pretty distracting for them. So yeah, doing some changes like this so that hero talent effects are visible but muted for other players, I think across the board is welcome. Overlord now charges rather than leaps, and visual's been updated on Mother of Chaos's Chaos Salvo. Hellcaller's been redesigned on Seeds of Their Demise. Blackened Soul damage increased by 30%. When it deals damage, you have a chance to gain 2 stacks of Flashpoint, and Zevrim's Resilience healing has been increased by 90%. Soul Harvester, we have a new talent that says targets resurrected with Soulstone resurrect with 40% additional health and 80% additional mana. Spirited Away has been removed. I don't remember what Spirited Away did, but this is reasonably nice, although Warlocks tend to be on the bottom of the priority list of people soulstoning, like people B-resing in combat. Usually the Warlocks are pretty reluctant to do that. So if you're a Warlock out there, make sure you never talent Soul Harvester so that nobody ever has a good reason to argue you should be the person casting Soulstone. Affliction. Death's Embrace has been redesigned. Increases drain life healing by 30% while your health is at or below 35% health. Damage done by Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Malefic Rapture is increased by 10%, was 5%, when your target is at or below 35% health, was 20% health. So they're buffing the execute by a lot here on these effects. Malediction's been redesigned, increases crit chance of agony, corruption, and UA by 10%. They move some talents around. Demo. Blood Invocation's been redesigned. Power Siphon increases the damage of Demon Bolt by an additional 25%. Doom is now passive and has been redesigned. When Demon Bolt consumes a core, it inflicts Doom on the target, dealing shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards of its target after 20 seconds. Damage reduced beyond 8 targets. Consuming a demonic core reduces the duration of Doom by 2 seconds. Impending Doom has been redesigned, increases the damage of Doom, and Doom summons a Wild Imp when it expires. Doom Eternal's been redesigned. Demonic cores reduce the cooldown or the duration of Doom by an additional 2 seconds, and Infernal Presence damage been reduced by 50%. So they're turning the Doom kind of more back into the set bonus version rather than just being a button you press. Yeah, I'm curious how this will play though, because my understanding of Demo on beta is that the consumption of demonic cores is something that happens less frequently than on live by quite a bit. So I wonder how this will feel to play. Let me know if you're a demo lock and you've played any on beta, how this feels. Destro. Unsable Rifts. Bolts from Dimensional Rift deal 25% of damage to nearby enemies as fire. Chaos Incarnate's been redesigned. Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, and Shadowborn always gain at least 70% of the maximum benefit from chaotic energies. Yeah, apparently this used to be always 100%, and then it got nerfed to always 70% in beta, and now I guess it's 70 to 100%. So we'll see if that is good. Because I think it used to be, I'm not sure, but apparently there was something really bad about the second most recent redesign, but maybe this will be good. Dimensional Ripper's been redesigned. Incinerate has a chance to tear open a Dimensional Rift or recharge it if learned. Interesting. So this might actually be better if you're not talented Rift, because then you don't have to press another global to open a Rift, and you just get one torn open for free. Because Dimensional Rift is on the global, right? Yeah. Interesting. Raging Demon Fire now extends Immolate by 0.5 seconds, was 0.2, and a bunch of talent tree movement and stuff. Warrior. Reverted an unintentional change to Intervene's tooltip. Arms. Reap the Storm now triggers from Cleave for arms. Arms. Blademaster's Torment has been redesigned. Activating Avatar casts Sweeping Strikes, and while Avatar is active, the cooldown of Cleave is reduced by 1.5 seconds. With the recent updates to Bladestorm, this talent went from a strong synergy to a near lock-in, particularly for Slayers. Total Bladestorm uptime was also becoming disruptive, so we've redesigned this talent to be useful in AoE situations and provide a different rotational cadence during Avatar. And then some tooltip updates with no functional changes. Odin Fury damage increased by 133% for Fury. Reckless Abandon now buffs your next Bloodthirst and Raging Blow. And Immovable Object tooltip update with no functional changes. Pet battles. Added a gossip to let you unlock 3 battle pets from War Within, as well as 3 ultimate battle pet training stones to test the new pet battles. There you go, log in. Pet battles enjoyers, log into beta. Bunch of PvP changes. We're not going to read these because this is too many PvP changes for us to read on my PvE channel, but if you're a PvPer, looks like we've got some stuff happening there. And rewards. In conjunction with the Conquest Earned update, okay, so this is PvP rewards, I guess. We wanted to provide additional context on how players will earn their weapons. In Season 1, players earn a set of Conquest weapons suitable to their spec without having to spend Conquest. They can pick up the quest Weapons of Conquest by entering a rated PvP match or by speaking with the Conquest Quartermaster. This will task them with earning Conquest, 2,500 Conquest, which is achievable on week 3. Then you can get your weapons, and she'll give you weapons, shields, and offhands. After completing this, they'll be able to use Conquest to purchase weapons as normal. Okay, so you get Conquest weapons for free on week 3 if you earn your Conquest caps. You know, if you get the Conquest, the 2,500 Conquest on week 3 at least. So interesting way to do this. So you don't have to buy your first Conquest weapon. I wonder how this will work with like 2-handers versus 1-handers though, because if she only gives you one free thing, that's going to heavily incentivize you to pick a 2-hander instead of, you know, a one-hander or a shield or something like that. Especially if you have to then use Conquest to purchase the other one. So maybe they should just make them all free once you finish this quest. And then there's not a penalty for being a 1-hander or 2-hander person. I don't know. Anyways, that is the beta notes here today. Let me know what you think about all this. I'm a big fan of this Illuminated Sigils change. I think this is going to help make Demon Hunter, balanceable. And that's really good. A shame it wasn't in for season 4, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.